if you just started programming or if you're a senior developer, it's always good to read books like this one, Clean Code Handbook of Agile Software Craftsmanship, because knowing how to write clean code will be useful for all your career and make you a better developer. So in this video, we'll see the main concepts of what makes your code clean and how to write better code. So first, writing clean code. So writing clean code means many things. First, if you know the KISS principle, so keep it simple, stupid. So it's about writing code that is really easy to code, because when you will be debugging it, you will spend 2 times more time trying to debug it. So just try to make it the simplest possible, because as software developer, we try to make really smart code and really beautiful code, but we should really focus on making it simple, because whenever someone tries to work on our code, it will make his task easier. So yeah, the main goal of this is to make your code simple so other people can easily understand what your code do, so they could see if there's a bug and try to debug it. And even you, after a few months, when you will look back at your code, you will not remember what it did. So you will be able to work on it again easily if your code is simple. Have meaningful name is really important, because sometimes you just put some random names for variables or functions. But if you have meaningful names, anybody looking at your code can understand what your code do thanks to the name. So it should really be straightforward. When you choose name, you should understand what this variable is for. You should not have like generic names, so like some random stuff or data if you don't know for what kind of data it is. So try to find meaningful names for functions and variables. Third is about functions. You should really try to make really simple functions and functions that are really small. So if you have a function that is 100 lines, it's probably too long, and you could split it in multiple small functions. So really try to make one function that does just one thing, so that you can easily understand and separate the responsibility of your code in small blocks. So it will be easier to maintain and easier to understand again. This one is a really sensitive subject, because when you start developing, you try to make a lot of comments thinking it's really good. But as you can see in the example, comment should really not be a main focus. You should really put comments if you don't have any other choices, but with a naming convention, with the naming of functions and variables, you should be easily capable of understanding what your code do. And writing comments, just repeating the name of the variables, like these functions access the database or something like this, it's not really useful. You should more use it to explain the logic or when you don't have any other choices. But it's an error I did when I was a beginner too. Like you try to put a lot of comments, thinking it's good, it would make the code easier to understand. But it would just distract the person reading your code, because useless comments, when you read them, you just don't read comments anymore because it's useless. Number 5 is about formatting. You should try to keep your format consistent and readable. So if you start naming your variables a certain way, you should keep doing it in all your files. If you start accessing some variables in your class in a way, you should do it in a consistent way in the other files too. And if you start using the camel case convention, you should continue using the camel case convention. So if you don't know what the camel case convention is, it's this. The uppercase on every word except the first one. You also have the snake case and the Pascal case, but Pascal case I think it's really bad. You should not use it in any other language, usually. And the sixth one is about objects and data structures. So this chapter, it's maybe less important than the other, but it's about making objects. It's about using protocols when you can, or interfaces, so that some objects cannot access every variables in your other classes, because usually they only need to access a few parts of your classes. So you could create a protocols like database protocol if a class you want to be able to access only the database related methods in this class. So it's really about giving access to what the other class may need. it's not, in my opinion, the most important compared to choosing meaningful names, for instance. In conclusion, Clean Code is a really nice book if you start programming or if you're deep into your career because it reminds you of how to read clean code, which is really important when you work in teams and even when you work yourself alone. Because when you write code, you don't really realize that you're writing complicated code. And when you look it back after a few months, if you write clean code, it will be really easy to maintain and understand what it does. So it's really a book I recommend you reading because this summary was really short. So if you want to buy this book, I put a link in the description so you can buy it on Amazon. And if you want to have more reviews about books like this one, um, I will soon make some video like this one again. So see you for the next book summary. Thank you.